I'm sitting here thinking sandy. It feels, and I don't know why that would be, but it feels sandy on my tongue. Coming to you virtually live from the Beer to Whiskey studios on the taproom floor of Greenville Beer Exchange, or GBX as we like to call it, on South Lawrence Street in glorious downtown Greenville, South Carolina. I'm Russ Heaps, and welcome to this episode of Big John in 5, where I get my good buddy here, Big John Richards, our resident certified Cicerone, to pick a beer from one of GBX's 22 taps or hundreds of cans and bottles in the retail store that you can probably see part of behind us here. And we sniff, we sip, we kibitz. John tells us a little bit about the brewery. Sometimes we get some brewing history. And with all of that, John, and I just want to mention, actually, I picked this one. I've never had it. It just looked interesting, and so that's what we're doing. But John, carry on.
I'm excited for this one too. I don't know that I would have picked it on my own, and I don't remember how long it's been since I've had this beer. But we were just talking with the store owner here, with Devin, and he said, man, he goes, I haven't had that in 2 or 3 years. I'd love to have a taste. And he goes, it's the best triple. Like, oh, well, there you go.
And he wants it. He'd like to do it on tap, but
yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's still hard to get, and it's not a cheap beer. So
right.
These things, that's the way these things go. So I had to piece a little bit of this together. It's really fun. It's de Garre, or as we like to, I don't think I'm going to need Buddy on this one. As we all like to say, it's de Garre.
De Garre. I can't roll my tongue.
So,
which is
there's some pressure behind this one.
One of the many reasons why I don't do a Scottish accent. I can't roll my tongue.
There's a famous brew pub, the de Garre brew pub in Bruges.
I just saw a
little wisp of CO2 escaping.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yep, it caught my eye as well. It's a good sign. Like I said, there was some pressure in there. But this is the house beer at the de Garre pub in Belgium. But near as I can tell, they don't brew any beer there. This is brewed by Van Steenberge, which is the brewery in Belgium that does Golden Draak and Parat, both of which are among my favorite beers, especially Parat.
They're household names in Belgium. I don't recognize either one of them, but
if we've never done Parat on this show, we have to do that.
I think it does. No, it does sound familiar.
I feel like we did a couple episodes in Trapdoor. There's no way we did a shoot in Trapdoor and didn't do a Parat. If we haven't lost our PG rating yet,
no thanks to you.
That's what I mean.
Jeez, oh Pete!
Look at how much head that pours with. That is beautiful.
It is. Look at this.
That is a gorgeous beer.
That is extraordinary.
So Belgian Style Triple is the golden version of the Abbey beers that the Trappist beers would brew. But it's usually quite strong, and this is even significantly more strong than usual for a triple. So most of them are in the 8.5 to 9.5% range, and this one's at 11. So,
what? See, if I'd known that, I might not have chosen it. Because we've had some big beers today.
That is patently false. This is why we switched to drinking 4 ounces of beer from 16 ounces of beer.
That is. Boy, we used to, back in the old days.
Some heartburners back in the day.
Back in the old days, and John.
Again, flying by the seat of our pants since 2018.
That's it. And we thought that was perfectly okay.
Yep.
If we, do 8 or 10 episodes and drink this much out of the pints and then sit there for 3 hours and finish the pints.
It was
not a good.
It didn't lead to a good next day.
Yeah. It may have led to a good that night, but who would remember?
Who would know?
Who would know? So we don't do that anymore.
All right,
That's
let's-
behind us.
Let's sip this thing. One of the hallmarks, I'm going to cheers you and let you
Texas Missile.
sip first. One of the hallmarks that is typical of nearly every Belgian triple, it's going to have some banana on the nose, it's going to have some clove on the finish. That's just almost always. Some of them famously do not, but most of them do. And then there's usually a little bit of bubble gum. Some have a little bit more bubble gum than others.
I wouldn't have identified it as banana until you said it, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm thinking wheat. I'm
Yeah.
thinking that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and that's, your typical German wheat beer is going to have that same kind of banana aroma. And in both cases, it's a yeast ester. It's a fermentation flavor. So it's dropping some of that into the beer, but you get that real clean. I usually get some apples and pears on the front end when it hits my tongue, and then that clove thing brings up the finish. And that's one of the reasons I like to suggest triple as the gateway beer for Chardonnay drinkers. If I've got a Chardonnay drinker who can't find a beer, I'm going to give that person a triple every time.
That is an extraordinary beer.
Ooh, man, Russ.
Holy
that really is.
moly. This is,
There's a lot of cereal grain in there too. Some of that wheat kind of spicy sweetness that a wheat will drop into a beer.
I'm sitting here thinking sandy. It feels, and I don't know why that would be, but it feels sandy on my tongue. Not that I taste sand, but it feels,
I think that is probably the carbonation level that's in there, because even pouring out as much carbonation as I did, there's still, I taste some carbonation heat. It's that prickly, pink, tingly, prickly thing that carbonation leaves that feels or tastes peppery. And every triple and every Belgian blonde that I know of is insanely high carbonated. And this one, like I said, a lot of times when I'm trying to pull a cork out of a beer, I have to work to get the cork out of the beer. And that one, I spun it just a hair and it started pushing its way out. I had to be gentle with it.
wow.
And that's a remarkable beer. There's that, like we talked about, the banana thing up front. I don't think there's a lot of bubble gum in there, although I think I'm getting some of it as I talk over it. And then there's that big clovey, spicy finish on the end. It's dry. It's super, super clean. The sweetness up front and dry on the finish. That is an incredibly well-balanced beer. That's a good food beer. You put this on your table next to literally anything, and it will pair well. From dessert to the biggest, heaviest, peppery spiced steak you can think of. It's going to work with everything you can think of.
And it's not what I would call exactly wine priced for this bottle, but it's, this is not a Kendall Jackson price. This is,
Yeah, so this was a $22 bottle on
Yeah.
the shelf here, which is on the high side for beer, but even then,
it's worth every penny.
100%. I mean,
don't
even,
feel bad at all
Even
about
then,
this.
there's a whole shelf full of beers that are big imperial stouts out of California that are 30, 32. 10, half again as much as this is, and not one of them is better than that beer.
I would agree with that. It's, obviously it's different flavor profiles, but holy cow, that is exquisite.
Yeah, that is a well-structured beer, and that's something that's come into my lexicon talking about wine, because wine people talk about the structure of the wine, and I'm appropriating it for beer because the balance is right, the flavors are right, the way it fits into what it's supposed to be, or what we've all agreed Belgian style triple tastes like.
This is one of those things where I couldn't say what I'm tasting exactly, but I've got to tell you the finish on my tongue is beautiful.
It's bright and it's crisp and it's clean and it's still flavorful and it lingers with you. Our Therm Pro overlord is telling us to go.
We gotta go. So damn lucky. See you next time.